government, and this is exactly what we find. David Rockefeller, the president and chairman of the Chase Manhattan Bank, which is the leading bank for the United Nations. Rockefeller is a frequent Bilderberg member. He co-founded the Trilateral Commission with Freemasons Zbigniew Brzezinski, and he is of the Council on Foreign Relations. Rockefeller is one of the most powerful men in the world, to put it bluntly. It is not a surprise then that this man is on board with this ancient plan to make a one-world government. In his book Memoirs, he states, "Some even believe we are part of a secret cabal working against the best interests of the United States, characterizing my family and me as internationalists and of conspiring with others around the world to build a more integrated political and economic structure. One world, if you will. If that's the charge, I stand guilty, and I'm proud of it." Unquote. Rockefeller's fellow CFR member and associate, James Warburg, is also a foreign agent of the Rothschild dynasty. Rothschild, the family who helped spread Illuminism in the 18th century and the 19th century. At least two of Mayer Amschel Rothschild's sons who set up banking houses in Europe were Freemasons. This can be easily verified by reading the book 10,000 Famous Freemasons. In fact, Fritz Springmeier was a researcher like myself who exposed the New Age side of the New World Order in devastating fashion. He was framed and jailed as a result of doing this. With respect to the Rothschilds' connection to the Illuminati, Springmeier states, "The Rothschilds had played a major role in the Bavarian Illuminati, and it is known that at least one of the sons of Amschel was a member. The Masonic reference book 10,000 Famous Freemasons, Volume 4, page 74, indicates two other sons of Amschel were Masons, James Mayer Rothschild and his brother Nathan Mayer Rothschild. James Rothschild in Paris was a 33rd degree Scottish Rite Mason, and his brother Nathan in London was a member of the Lodge of Emulation." Unquote. Now back to the CFR member, James Warburg, who is a foreign agent of the Rothschilds. He has likewise called for a one-world government. He stated, quote, "We shall have world government whether or not you like it, by conquest or consent." That was his statement given to the Senate Foreign Relations Committee on February 17, 1950. This is also confirmed in Georgios H. Hanton's work, The Best of Times, The Worst of Times, page 177. Another globalist who made the New World Order's intentions known was Strobe Talbot, a Skull and Bones member like George Bush, who was Bill Clinton's Deputy Secretary of State. In Time magazine, July 20th, 1992, he stated, quote, "Here is one optimist's reason for believing unity will prevail. Within the next 100 years, nationhood as we know it will be obsolete. All states will recognize a single global authority. A phrase briefly fashionable in the mid-20th century, citizen of the world, will have assumed real meaning by the end of the 21st. All countries are basically social arrangements, accommodations to changing circumstances, no matter how permanent and even sacred they may seem at one time. In fact, they are all artificial and temporary." Unquote. Now, if you don't believe that that's a treasonous statement, then you don't know what the United States of America stands for. The New World Order is admitted fact, and to deny its reality is to close your mind to facts of our world that we all must face and overcome. My contention is that the Theosophical Society, who wants a New World Order, and thus infected the United Nations, is intertwined with Freemasonic elements that were infiltrated by the Illuminati doctrine of globalization. I can demonstrate this, and I have partially done this in my films and articles. However, let me take another shot at it so I can persuade you of this fact. First, the founder of Theosophy, Helena Blavatsky, envisioned a similar one-world system where all of humanity is a singular entity. Although she denied the political aspects of this vision, later leaders of her organization proposed political objectives in order to achieve this world vision. Blavatsky's reason for not wanting Theosophy involved in politics are found in her book, Key to Theosophy. It states, "Inquirer, do you take any part in politics? Theosophist, as a society, we carefully avoid them, for the reason given below. To seek to achieve political reforms before we have effected a reform in human nature is like putting new wine into old bottles." Unquote. Although she wanted globalist, Luciferian, esoteric, Aquarian, New Age doctrines believed in worldwide, she recognized that world government based on this would result in chaos due to humankind's destructive tendencies. In short, her position was that before theosophy was implemented politically worldwide, humanity would have to change its attitude and nature, which, according to Christianity, because of the fall of Adam, it would be an impossible task. Blavatsky's realization, however, did not stop future leaders of theosophy from making this theosophic agenda political. The Theosophical Society would become a little too ambitious when in 1957, Alice Bailey would submit, quote, "The new era is coming, the new ideals, the new civilization, new modes of life, of education, of religious presentation, and of government are all slowly precipitating, and nothing can stop them," unquote. The tenets of this government include the New Age aspects that Blavatsky coined, in that Aquarius is a shift in consciousness and moving out of the age of Pisces that supposedly spawned Christianity. This is why modern proponents of the New Age despise Christianity, because it's supposed to end at the advent of the New Age that's coming. Now, the Theosophical Society became political when it forced its way into the United Nations through Lucius Trust. Lucius Trust admitted that they are on the Social and Economic Council of the UN recently on their radio program.
Lucis Trust, a non-profit, non-political, and non-sectarian organization on the roster of the Economic and Social Council of the United Nations, on the roster of the Economic and Social Council of the United Nations.
Moreover, it was Alice Bailey who founded Lucifer Publishing that would print and distribute theosophic Luciferian New Age books. Amazingly, I have obtained confirmation from the International Geneva Yearbook 2008, Organization and Activities of International Institutions, written by United Nations Office in Geneva. It states, quote, "Lucius Trust is represented at regular briefing sessions at UN headquarters. The Lucius Trust is on the roster of the United Nations Economic and Social Council," unquote. So although Blavatsky didn't think humanity was ready for a political world system based on the New Age of Aquarius and esotericism, Bailey did, and now today the United Nations is heavily associated with theosophy through Lucius Trust. Now, Freemasonry also strives for the New Age of Aquarius in the form of world government and politics. The September 1950 article, God's Plan in America, by C. William Smith, published in the Scottish Rite of Freemasonry's magazine, the New Age magazine, states, quote, "Great God our King has chosen the great American public schools to pave the way for the new race, the new religion, and the new civilization that is taking place in America. Any mother, father, or guardian who is responsible for the taking away of freedom of mind, freedom of will, or freedom of spirit is the lowest criminal on earth, because they take away from that child the God-given right to become part of God's great plan in America for the dawn of the new age of the world," unquote. It is obvious that Freemasonry not only wants a world government based on ancient Illuminati doctrine, but they also want New Age of Aquarius ideology to go with it, in that a new world civilization based on utopian principles will be the outcome. Alice Bailey stated that the restoration of the mysteries and the spread of esotericism was key in order to achieve world government. She also said that Freemasonic lodges will be used to achieve this. What is meant by externalizing the mysteries is that people will apply metaphorical aspects of ancient gods and goddesses in their everyday life, and they will revert to paganism in a spiritual, esoteric, metaphorical sense. For example, say a woman is Isis in that she is the feminine principle of wisdom in her community. That would be in a sense restoring esotericism to the public. A revival of the mysteries to the public is what Theosophy and Masonry want to achieve, because the New World Order will be manufactured under the guise of a New Age utopia with respect to Theosophy, so they have to brainwash the public into these ideas. Oddly enough, years and years later, Zeitgeist's main source, Acharya S., displays that the revival of esotericism or mystery cult theology is embodied in her own ideology, showing that the mysteries have been externalized to her. She also implicitly advocates the world system. She states, quote, "And yes, I am here to destroy. I am the intellectual aspect of Kali the Destroyer, of Shiva, of Zeus the Thunderer, and of Jehovah.